Hi, Bull Bakers. We are shaking things up here a little bit at Knead To Know. Instead of waiting for the Ask Gemma segment during the podcast, I'm going to be joining Mia at the top of every episode, and we're going to be talking baking trends, what's going on in the world, and answering your baking questions. This is a brand new format. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. Just so you know, we're going to bring back our special guests really soon. But for right now, I hope you enjoy this new format and make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, Gemma. It's so good to see you again.
Hi, Mia. I'm excited. What do you got for me today?
Oh my gosh, let's just get into it. I'm so excited to be here doing this new format, and what we have this week is really, really good. So this week, hot from the oven. First things first, I just wanted to get this out of the way and jump in. Very excited about this one. So a little birdie told me that you love hot dogs, as do I. But let's see how you feel about this. I'm very curious. So Disneyland is now selling a pickle corn dog. It's a hot dog inside of a pickle. I don't know. Don't ask me. I didn't do it. And then it's all deep fried. Yeah, that's a picture of it. And it has a side of peanut butter.
Oh, why the peanut butter?
I was going to ask you. I'm like, where did that idea come from? And I love peanut butter, but I don't know if I would do all that. So how do you feel about this? Would you try this?
So I do. I love hot dogs. I know that Kevin told you that information because he knows that I'm very passionate about hot dogs. But lots of times when I tell people I love hot dogs, they're like, do you know what's in them? And I'm like, don't tell me what's in them. That's why I love them.
Exactly.
Don't ruin it for me. So I love corn dogs. So there's two things.
Yes.
And I do like pickles separately. This is a lot. I definitely, although I suppose you would have relish, like pickle relish on a hot dog. So I kind of get that. I don't know, Mia, though, like hot dog in a pickle. Sure, that's a lot. That's a lot to bite off. And the peanut butter, I don't get that. Like, you know, the way you have that, like the famous Elvis sandwich where it's like bananas and jam and peanut butter. Yeah. And like that's a famous kind of flavor, like iconic with Elvis. I don't know where the peanut butter falls into this one.
Me either.
I'd take a bite. I would. I'd take a bite for sure.
Okay.
Just to see.
Yeah. As you know, I always say I'll try anything once. But for me, this is a lot. Like you said, I'd take a bite, but it just seems like, I mean, I'm not an expert on sauces here, but I will say I feel like a honey mustard would have been better. I don't know. That would have been good. Yeah.
Oh, for sure that would have been good. You know what, though, I have to say, Mia, I am, so Kevin and I used to have season passes for Disneyland here in LA. And we used to go a few times a year. This was before baby George. And before quarantine. And I have some favorite hotspots that I love to hit up on Disneyland. One of them is I never go to Disneyland without getting a turkey leg. I absolutely love the big giant turkey legs. I love they do a really yummy Mickey Mouse. It's not an ice cream. It's an ice cream. It's on a stick. It's Mickey Mouse's head, ears, and face. Yeah, it's just ice cream dipped in dark chocolate. And there's something about this dark chocolate and vanilla ice cream. I just adore it. And then we have beignets. Yes. Like you said, the hot dogs. I nearly always get a hot dog at Disneyland. You know, we did a whole Gemma Eats episode at Disneyland. Dole Whip. I mean, I'm a huge fan of, like, you know, Disneyland foods, like carnivals, like that kind of stuff. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yes. Have you ever tried to make your own Dole Whip or any of the things like, I'm sure you haven't tried to recreate the turkey leg, but have you tried to recreate anything and put the recipe on the site?
So we did Dole Whip, and we did that a few years ago now, and it was hugely popular. It's super easy. It's just a few ingredients, and it turns out really well. You do have to eat it straight away. But that was hugely popular for us because the Disneyland Dole Whip has become like so famous, and you can't get it. I think you can only get it at Disneyland. I don't think you can get it anywhere else.
That's what I've heard. It's a specialty.
I'm pretty sure about that. But yeah, it's super yummy. But yeah, we made Disneyland beignets. I do make turkey legs. We actually had turkey legs here last weekend, and a little bit different. They weren't roasted like the ones at Disneyland. I confit them, which is, have you ever confit anything before?
No, I don't trust myself.
It's a really easy method of cooking, but confiting something probably isn't the exact definition, but you're cooking, you're braising something submerged in fat. Usually it's duck legs in duck fat, because ducks are so fatty. You get all this excess fat from them, and the fat flavor is so nutty and amazing that you would cook the duck submerged in the oven, completely covered in fat, and you get this really tender, yummy duck leg. Long story short, it's hard for me to get duck here in Santa Monica, and when you see it, it's really expensive. So I got turkey legs, which are way cheaper and much bigger. And I confit them in some duck fat, a little bit of olive oil, some Irish Kerrygold butter, some ghee. I did a bit of a mix of stuff, and they were so good. So if you want to start a different podcast about stuff that Gemma makes for dinner, that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I often cook to kind of relax a little bit, which is kind of funny because usually people bake to relax. I usually get something, I see something in a book, a magazine, or whatever it is online. I get it into my head and I go into the kitchen and spend a few hours making it. And like, that's kind of I don't know, it's a little bit like therapy for me.
Yes, that is true. Cooking is therapy. Baking is therapy.
Yeah.
Food is amazing. It is more than nourish us. It just makes us happy, and it relaxes us after a long day. I totally agree. And if anyone's looking for that pickle corn dog, it's actually very specifically, it's in downtown Disney's Blue Ribbon Corn Dogs cart. So you'll have to go there if you want to try it. But moving on to our next topic. So a peach cobbler debate has taken over Twitter. Someone tweeted out a photo saying, "This is what I mean when I say I want peach cobbler. That means I want crust, and you can sprinkle some peach on that." So it's basically just all crust and a little bit of peach. So I wanted to ask you specifically about peach cobbler. Do you like more crust? Do you like more peaches? Do you think a true peach cobbler should be a balance between the two? Like, is there a technical answer, or is it all just preference?
It's preference. I would like to preface this by saying that I did not grow up with peach cobbler. The first time I ever had a peach cobbler was this time last year. First time ever when
2020.
Honestly, Ami, who helps me here with culinary, she made it. We did it for a photo shoot. The recipe is live on the website now on biggerbolderbaking.com, and it was the first time I ever had it. Because it's a very American thing. So honestly, that doesn't exist in Ireland. I'd say you'd be very hard pushed to find a cobbler in Europe in general. However, it has all of what's the word? It has all of the things that I love about a dessert. It has so you get different textures. I love fruit and a little bit of something else.
Yeah.
You have a soft crust on top. It's buttery. It's a little bit salty if you put a little bit of salt in there. You've got soft cooked fruit, and then you have it with vanilla ice cream, and I absolutely adore it. So I'm a huge fan of crisps, cobblers, crumbles, that whole family I'm all about. I would have to say that generally I'm all about the crust. So I do want my ratio of crust to peaches to be more crust and less peaches. But like I said, it's preference.
Yeah, it is preference. And I agree. I love peach cobbler. I've told you this before, but I grew up, my mom made peach cobbler all the time. That was one of my it's opposite. It's one of the first things I was introduced to in baking. And I like mushy peach cobbler, which I feel like is definitely not what people like. I like a little bit of crisp, but I like it when it's mushy and the peaches kind of blend in with the bread, and the bread is softened, and then with the ice cream on top. Oh my gosh. But that's just how I like it. But I know a lot of people don't like it that way. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. I'll take it.
I love it. But, you know, I have to say, though, that so peach cobbler, very American thing, very Southern. I appreciate it. I thought it was tasty when I had it. I have to say, peaches... I like peaches in season. I go down to Whole Foods and I'll buy like, you know, 2 or 3. I go to the farmer's market and buy a few. Yeah. In season are amazing, delicious, like just like one of the best desserts you could ever have. But I'm not the biggest fan of peaches cooked in desserts. I adore apples, like an apple cobbler, apple crisp, blueberry crisps, apple and blueberry crisp. I am all about. I adore blueberries. And generally that's what I would go for. And I actually, I have, I'm trying to think of, it's a blueberry crisp on the website. And it has a nutty kind of a topping, not a cobbler, it's a crisp. So it has like oats and nuts and yummy stuff in it. Yeah. It's to die for. I just adore blueberries and a little bit of apple in there too.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And if you all are fans listening of peach cobbler, the peach cobbler that the girl tweeted is actually from, I think it's called Pashaw's in Atlanta. So if you're in Atlanta, go try it if you think that peach cobbler sounded really good. But while we're on the topic of pies, cobblers, and we're, you know, also transitioning into a new season, what are your thoughts on rhubarb? Because I know it can be, you know, people stand where they stand on it, but where do you stand by this as far as baking?
Rhubarb?
Yes.
So now you're talking my language. Rhubarb. Okay,
put it in everything.
Forget about peach cobbler for a moment. Rhubarb, that's what I grew up with. It is gnarly looking. It's prehistoric. It's actually very tart. If you can't eat it raw, cannot eat it raw. It can be quite tart. And so you do have to use, you know, a good sprinkling of sugar with it. When growing up, we would have rhubarb, what we call crumbles. In the US, you'd call them crisps. And our crumbles are just butter, sugar, and some flour. That's all our crumbles are. And I know that crisps here, for like people listening outside of the US, crisps usually have oats, usually have nuts, a little bit of cinnamon, stuff like that. So they're a little bit more involved. In Ireland, our crumbles are very basic. Flour, butter, little bit of sugar. That's all it is. And so for desserts in Ireland, rhubarb crumble, huge, absolutely huge. And in Ireland, I feel like you can get it all year round, where I think in the States, spring, summer is more the rhubarb season. Here for us in California anyway. But in Ireland, we get it all year round. And, you know, like I said, it cooks down beautifully. That's what I love about rhubarb. And the flavor is really good, but you do need that little bit of sugar just to make it a bit sweeter. But rhubarb is such a lovely, I was going to say fruit. Is it it's a fruit, right? Yeah.
I'm just
thinking, is it a tomato situation or of like, is it a fruit or is it a vegetable? Whatever it is, it's absolutely delicious. And I love how it cooks down and you get those kind of like strands, but it still holds its shape. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Also rhubarb and strawberries for those out there who haven't tried that. Delicious.
Okay, it's a vegetable.
I knew it. I knew there was something weird about it. I knew
Fleshy edible stalks is how it's described. Do you know the first time I ever saw rhubarb, I was scared. I was like, what is this? I was like, this is jankety looking. Like it's terrifying. But I don't know if I've had anything with it on purpose. I feel like if I've ever had it, it's been on accident. So I got to try.
Wait, you haven't had it?
And that's what I'm saying. I may have had it, but it was probably an accident. I know. I just
you're
like
a grown
never.
woman.
I know.
How have you not had rhubarb?
I don't know. I just really haven't had it.
It's coming into season. Like, honestly, get a bunch of it, stew it with a little bit of sugar, put some strawberries in there, make a little like compote, have it with vanilla ice cream, or make a crisp and chop it up, maybe mix it apples and rhubarb or just rhubarb. or rhubarb and strawberry. I know a website, biggerbulgerbaking.com, where you can get a really good recipe for a strawberry and rhubarb crisp. So nice. Get on that, Mia.
Amazing. That is my homework for the week. So hold me accountable. Okay, moving on. Delish released a list of the top fast food desserts. Did I say that right? Top fast food desserts, yes. And they ranked them. So I'm very excited about this. The Oreo McFlurry is number 1. White Castle's cheesecake on a stick, never had that, is at number 10. And then they have everything from like Shake Shack's custard, all these other things. So I want to read us the top 5, not the full 10. And we can just react and you can tell me your takes on them and if you think that it's in the right order. So number 1, like I said, is McDonald's Oreo McFlurry. Have you had this? I know you haven't had a Shamrock Shake, so have you ever had a McFlurry?
I've had a McFlurry. I have.
Okay.
I don't know if I've had an Oreo one, to be honest. I haven't had actually, I tell a lie. Kevin and I went and got McFlurries. When was that, Kevin? Like 2 years ago. There's in Ireland, there's a McDonald's near my house. And one night we wanted ice cream and we said, why don't we go to get a McDonald's McFlurry? And it was an Oreo. No, not Oreo. It was an Aero one, which is a European candy bar. And it was a little bit disappointing. Now, let me get back to it. McFlurry, I've had an M&M's McFlurry. I know that for sure. Years ago, I love M&M's, one of my favorite candies. I don't know if I've had Oreo McFlurry, but there's nothing I wouldn't like about that. Like soft serve ice cream, love. Oreos, love. Everything all mushed up and like soft, love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't hate a McFlurry. You really can't. But I will say I would have liked to see a Blizzard on this list. I don't know if Dairy Queen counts. I mean, they serve other foods, but I'm like, I prefer a Blizzard to a McFlurry personally. Like a cookie dough one. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I feel like I need Kevin to verify this for me, but I don't know if I've had a Blizzard because I feel like one time a few years ago, we were in Burbank in Los Angeles and we had the conversation how we've never had a Blizzard and we got a Blizzard in the shopping mall there, but I could be wrong. However, like I love soft, squishy desserts and then like everything blended up and then you get a little bit of texture from the cookies, from the candy, whatever it is. But yeah, I haven't had a lot of these, but forgive me, but growing up in Ireland, when I was growing up in Ireland, there was a handful of McDonald's in the entire country. There was absolutely no Starbucks until recently.
Wow.
We don't have a lot of fast food chains. There's some small Irish fast food chains, but there wouldn't be hundreds of locations, it's just it's such a small country. So the only fast food I really knew was McDonald's and Burger King. That's really all we had. Then when I came to the United States, I was a grown woman. I was 25 and I didn't eat, as much fast food at that stage of my life.
Yeah.
I haven't had, I'm interested to hear about the White Castle. I've never been to White Castle. I know that they make like little sliders, little burgers.
Thing. Yeah.
I didn't know about the frozen cheesecake on a stick or whatever it is. But yeah, no, I'm this is all fascinating to me, especially I know for those of you people listening outside of the US, this is very foreign food to us.
It's like what is
cheesecake
this?
On a stick and like a Blizzard. We don't have a place that makes a Blizzard at home. Like that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But lots of these things, we just it's not our cuisine. So when we come to the US, we go nuts for American style buttermilk pancakes, some fat, In-N-Out burger and animal fries and a milkshake. Oh, if you want to talk about In-N-Out burger, I got that one. I know that one.
I miss it. Let's put it on this list, everything. It just belongs on the list. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't matter. I miss In-N-Out so much. I cannot wait to have it again when I come back to California. But you mentioned
what else is on the list, Mia? Sorry.
Yes. No, it's okay. So you mentioned soft and squishy desserts. And so I don't know. Number 2 is Shake Shack's frozen custard. And I don't know if you've ever had this. But my question for you is, can you explain to people the difference between frozen custard and ice cream? Because I feel like a lot of people don't actually know.
It's so if you were to make it at home, in my kitchen, I would say, to be honest with you, it's kind of more custard is more egg heavy. And ice cream is like probably more cream and more milk and stuff like that. Like that's what I personally think. Custard is kind of like a creme anglaise, and it's cooked and it's thick. But the thing about it is, Mia, that ice cream is custard. Mm-hmm. So they're actually very, very similar. I think the difference might just be more eggs in the custard than in the ice cream, but both are custard based.
And delicious.
And delicious. The Shake Shack custard I've had because I just love stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my brother in New York is a huge Shake Shack fan. And he was the one that I think I went to the Shake Shack with for the first time in New York. And super yummy. Super yummy. It's so like thick and creamy and just delicious.
Delicious is the word. So the next two, so 3 and 4, I'm just going to list them back to back because I really want to get into number 5. 3 is a Wendy's Frosty. 4 is a Chick-fil-A Frosted Lemonade, which I've never had, but of course I love Wendy's Frosty. Should have been, it is top 3, but I think it should have been higher. Should have been like 1 or 2 for me. Number 5 is McDonald's Baked Apple Pie, which I don't know if you've had this. I think, do you have a recipe of your own on the website for like a version of this apple pie?
I do, a homemade version. I have had an apple pie, and McDonald's apple pie a long, long time ago. Like not in 10 years. I haven't had one. But a long, long time ago. But like, it's pie filling, it's sweet, it's pastry. I mean, what's not to like?
Yeah.
But, so that's number 1, Mia?
No, that's number 5. But I feel like that's a weird placement. That's halfway to 10, and I feel like it deserves more than that.
Well, what's number 1? The McFlurry?
The McFlurry, which...
Oh.
Yeah, over apple pie. And there's a lot of other things on this list too, like the hot fudge sundae is like way lower. It's like almost, I think it's number 7. And I was like, that's blasphemy. Should be like top 3.
Funny. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of what's my... I don't know. I'm
what
kind of
would be your
surprised
top?
by that. Like an Oreo, quite a plain Oreo McFlurry that's been around for donkey's years. It's like, that's number 1. Like, it just seems a little bit like, it's like big, the top 10 like favorite fast food desserts. And then it's a bit of a letdown, like a McFlurry with Oreos. Yeah. It's just ice cream, soft serve, and Oreos. I don't know. I think I would have hoped it was something a little bit more like crazy. Like you said, like the is it frozen cheesecake on a stick? Is that what it is at White Castle?
So that was number 10 on the list. So it was the very last one. I've never had it, but that seems creative to me. I don't know how tasty it is.
But I feel like that creative
could have been a little higher. And Taco Bell's cinnamon twist were like number 7, and I felt like that should have been way down. But Taco Bell cannot hold that against me. I'm their number 1 fan, but their cinnamon twist are it tastes like your air when I bite into it. I always want them to be like crunchier. But anyways, okay, we still have one more to get through, and then I have really great questions from fans.
Great.
So going into this, Ramadan starts next week on April 13th. And Gemma, I think you know what Ramadan is, but for people who don't and aren't familiar, it's the holy month of Ramadan. It's a time of spirituality and reflection observed by millions of Muslims all around the world. And it's best known for its tradition of fasting. So they fast during daylight hours, break fast after sundown with special cuisine and an amazing communal meal called iftar, really special. And so date-filled cookies are a typical sweet during Ramadan. I wanted to know, have you ever tried these? Have you ever made them? Or if you haven't, you also made maamoul cookies. I think I'm saying that right. But I'd love to hear more about those too.
So we made maamouls. I hope I'm saying that right too. As far as, I just want to take a few seconds to talk about Ami, who is my culinary superhero here that helps me with the recipes at Bigger Bolder Baking. She is very cultured, and she is very, she introduces me to a lot of recipes, and that's where Bold Baking Worldwide came from. So that those are our recipes on a Monday. Is that like when we were creating recipes, and I'd be like, let's make chocolate cheesecake, and she'd be like, no, how about we make like Greek baklava or like something. So we started doing these Bold Baking Worldwide, where we would pick a region and make something traditional from there, and we wouldn't would stick traditional. You know, we wouldn't go in and change anything ourselves, because if you're looking for a maamoul, you probably want a traditional one. If you're looking for a baklava, you don't want Gemma's crazy twist on it. You want just traditional baklava, which I absolutely adore. So Ami, one of the recipes, and there's loads of them up there, one of her ideas was maamouls, which are date, like you said, date stuffed, like a soft cookie, almost like a shortbread, even softer. And they have dates on the inside. And I don't know if you saw this, Mia, and I'm sure somebody listening could probably tell us, you have a special mold to make a maamoul. And it's this gorgeous wooden mold, and it has a divot in it, like a hole, and it's kind of carved in there with like a shape on it, and then you build your maamoul in that mold. It's really gorgeous. I don't know if maamouls, though, are they a Ramadan treat? I'm not 100% sure, but they were delicious and definitely different to what I'm used to.
It comes from that area where a lot of people do celebrate Ramadan, but it's not, I didn't see it on the list of, you know, things that people usually have. They have like date-filled cookies, a lot of dates. They have pide, which is it looks amazing. I've never had it, but it's flatbread, Turkish flatbread. And I really love to try that. So maybe that can be a recipe you do in the future.
That sounds good.
It sounds really good. I was like, I want this now. But okay, to anyone celebrating, Ramadan Mubarak. And now we're going to move on to fan questions. So Gemma, somebody named Jessica Elaine wants to know, do you have tips on how to proof bread in humid climates?
Oh, Jessica, ask me a different question. That's a tough one. Humidity, it can be so harsh on a baker. It's just, it's tough. It's really tough. It's tough when you're making meringues. It's tough when you're making macaroons, when you're trying to proof bread. It's a tricky one. I would say just try and go to the coolest, driest part of your house and put your dough there. If it has to be in a cupboard, put it in a cupboard. That's totally fine. If it has to be in a what you call in Ireland a hot press, where you'd have your water tank. Like if it has to be in somewhere like that, where you'd have like all your bed sheets, your towels, all those things, it has to be in there. Put it in there for a little bit. Just try and get it out of that moist atmosphere.
Nice.
It's a tough one.
That was tough, but you answered that flawlessly. I was like, cupboard, got it.
Hope it works.
Amazing.
I just kind of made that up.
Jessica, let us know. We need to know. Get back to us, okay? Okay, and then the next question is from Jules King 8, and they asked, why do my brownies always sink in the middle? What do we
Jules, I know Jules. So her brownies sink? Jules, that's a funny one. Honestly, I don't want to, like, I've made a lot of brownies in my time. I've never seen a brownie sink. So that's odd. Also, I'll tell you what, brownies generally, especially my brownies, aren't leavened. So there's no baking powder, baking soda. So they will rise, but they're very level. So I know Jules from Instagram and from email that like I might reach out to her and see like what's up with her brownies. But honestly, I've never seen that before, Jules. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to figure it out.
I would say, let me just say that when it comes to sinking, just make sure you're not opening the oven during the baking period, because that's super, super important. And that can happen with cakes. You open it within 20 minutes. My rule of thumb is generally with cakes, anything that's kind of like soft and fluffy like that, don't open your door. Bread especially, don't open your door within 20 minutes of the baking. Just don't.
I made that mistake when I was first learning to bake. Like no one had told me not to open the oven, and I did. And then it happened, my cake sank in the middle. But yeah, I don't know if my brownies have ever sank, but that was good advice, I would say. Not that I'm the expert to tell you that. You would have to tell me, which you did. And I thought it was
very
awesome.
Good advice I just gave, yes.
Yes. All here. This is a free podcast, but you can pay Gemma with likes and subscribing and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, those things make me happy.
You're like our baking therapist. I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so really quick before we head out, what is new with you, Gemma? You have had a lot going on, so I'm very excited to hear about this.
There's a lot going on. One thing that we're doing right now that we're busy planning around this week is that we're going to, we will have just released our first Amazon Live. So we are going to be doing Amazon Lives one to two times a week here. If you can see, Mia, can you see my mise en place behind me?
We're Amazon going to be live?
We're going to be live on Amazon, showing recipes. It's going to be baking and shopping at the same time. A lot of fun. It's a great place where you can like tune in. You can ask me questions live and I will answer them. And so cool. Yeah, it's just another platform for us to connect on. So any bold bakers out there, keep an eye on my social media, and we will announce that when we do these lives, but it's really fun. And like often, like one of the biggest questions when I'm baking is people ask me, what kind of pan do I need? What kind of tray are you using? What kitchen mixer is best? And like I have my preferences, and like now I can share them with you, but I can also share links. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be like an hour each live, which is a lot of time. So like tune in. You can ask me any questions that you have. We'll get to them. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be interactive, which is great. And also you can get the tools that you need to bake with.
So cool. Okay, so how can people watch these? And is it free? Do they have to have an Amazon subscription?
So it's free. And actually, let me just say, I didn't say this, but for the episode now, when this goes live, Need to Know goes live, we will have done churros baked and in an air fryer.
Oh my God.
Which is insane. They're so good. I made them this morning. So you can go to Amazon.live /live, or you can go, if you go out to the Amazon homepage, there's a live button, click on live, and you will see our episode there. Just scroll down, look for the food section, and you'll see our episode there. And we're going to be doing them, like I said, 1 to 2 times a week. It's another place to connect with Bigger Bolder Baking and me. Yes. And it's a fun platform. Like live is really fun. It's interactive. So cool. And I personally love it. And it's going to be baking and cooking in real time. So I want everybody to join us there.
That is going to be so exciting. I cannot wait to tune in. So that's Amazon.com/live, I think you said. Yeah, so everybody go check that out.
For sure. And it's Bigger Bolder Baking, Mia.
Nice. Okay, awesome. I cannot wait to see that. So Gemma, I think that does it for this week. I think this was an awesome new format. I'm loving it already. I like that I get more time with you to just talk to you about all of these things. It's so much fun.
This is great. So much fun. And you keep me abreast of what's going on out there, because literally I have no idea.
Yeah. You're like, so I'm baking, I'm cooking, I'm on live. You know, it's okay. I got you. So all of you out there, thank you for listening. If you like this new format, let us know how you feel, because it really helps us form the show. Reach out to us at Bigger Bolder Baking everywhere. And don't forget, we're just starting out as a podcast still. So be sure to subscribe, rate 5 stars wherever you listen, and leave a comment with what you want to see. If you're watching on YouTube, of course. I'm Mia Brabham again. You can find me on Instagram at yours truly, Mia, and on Twitter at Hot Mess Mia, because I'm a hot mess. And Gemma, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Gemma _Stafford, and also on Facebook, Gemma Stafford. Also, obviously, biggerbolderbaking.com on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Mia.